Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Bass Bonsai, back in the house, not at the range, not on the water. I don't know when we're going to get to either. Try to get out to the range tomorrow, but I want to put together a quick video on where I'm at on, and these are in this order for a particular reason on my builds I've done, like my least favorite to my favorite maybe. And then we've also got, you're probably looking at that going, that isn't a Glock or a clone, and I'll show you where the Echelon fits in my opinion, on which ones of these Glock clones are the PSA Dagger, except for the shadow systems here, that I would pick before the Echelon, right? Because if you guys don't know about that, Springfield Echelon came out. That is a very good gun. The Shadow Systems War Poet, that is a very good blaster. Both very good. So did my builds get to as good as those, not as good, or same, or whatever? So that's what, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. And then upcoming videos, not only am I going to be taking some of these out and, you know, putting some more rounds through them, but I'm also going to, up at Frontier Justice, you can rent their firearms. So I'm going to be putting some of these up against stuff they've got up there, like if they'll let me take the silencer off, they've got a Zev SIG P226. They do have a Staccato XC, but they've got to get the safety fixed on it. I believe it's a Staccato CS. They've got Spectre Comp. They've got the MR, not the MR, DR 920p, I believe. They've got a lot of different things that we could put these up against, and I'll give my opinion on those if you guys are just curious. Whether you've got a Dagger, a Glock, or whatever, and you're curious what my opinions are, you know, it towards another firearm. Same thing with this versus the Shadow Systems. I don't know if you guys, if I even made the video when I had shot these guys together. But this one, I've never shot the Springfield Echelon, whether it be with the ports or comps or anything. But I did put, I think I was up there with the War Poet with the comp on it, so it wasn't really a fair comparison. But I believe I had this on the War Poet the day I was shooting those two side by side. But they're about even, as we're getting ready to get into in this video. Quick rundown. If you're this is the first time you're watching Bass Bonsai, first of all, click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. But I basically started out with two ports versus comps, PSA Dagger builds. Went from there. I was like, oh, why not do like a Glock 19X inspired build? Well, for whatever reason, because they were on sale, the lowers were $49, about over $1,500, $2,000 later. I've got three builds kind of inspired by the Glock 19X, and actually picked up a complete, well, not complete, a stripped upper from a true 19X, not cut for an optic. I've put this plate on it. We're trying out the sight mark. I haven't even shot it with the sight mark on it yet. I shot the plate, but with a different optic. I'll have to start all over again on how long will it hold up, will it hold zero. A few little tricks I did to, if you have one of these style where you only have screws and there's nothing else to help you out, kind of trick you can do with Loctite, if you guys don't know that trick. Anyway, let's get to my least favorite to favorite, and where I think the Echelon would fall in between in my, not just kind of what I like, and performance too, like how the trigger feels, how the recoil, and all that kind of stuff. So my least favorite, and it would be my favorite, but this is my least favorite. And I'm still waiting on the trigger to come, and I'm going to mention, if I forget to mention, make sure and remind me. You won't be able to remind me because this isn't live. I can't do live streams anymore when I'm holding a firearm. Nobody can. So, my favorite trigger, because I do have a favorite trigger, and it is not the stock one. Least favorite. But for now, I've got one more coming to match the other one I already have in this guy. So if you don't know about this one, Glock 26 slide on what would be a 19 frame, right? And I can't get it to reliably cycle. I know, go figure, right? Who would have thunk it? It will. I can put two rounds in and slingshot it, okay? You know, just pull it back about as far as it can go as I let go, usually what they call slingshot it, and it'll fire both those rounds, and it will lock back on that second round. And it's like, okay, I put 3, it might and it might not. It may not cycle through the first one. It gets stuck in there. It's not even like a stovepipe. It's just still stuck. Like it didn't even extract it right. So I did switch out extractors. So the next time I go to the range, I'm going to try that. But for that fact, I still got I was wondering, like, what's going on? I still got the magazine in it. For that reason, though, it's my least favorite because it's the least reliable of the bunch. And once I get the other trigger in it, and maybe it just will take shooting it for a while because I only went back so far. I couldn't go back any further. In my mind, that would still, the firearm would hold together. I think it'll hold together now if I can just figure out, maybe I have to work with the extractor and get everything just right and just shoot it to where these pieces break in. And then maybe I'll never get it to hold 19 rounds and fire reliably, but maybe I can get it to like, 10, 15 or something or whatever. So anyway, still not giving up on it, but my least favorite of the bunch. My next least favorite is this one. I don't know why. I've talked about it in video. Probably now for the fact it's got my least favorite red dot on it, my least favorite trigger. And I thought I would like this slide, but there's just something about it. And everything has been safety checked, and so they are all empty in case you were wondering. And most of these, actually all of these magazines you're seeing now are still brand new. I just picked these up there. Some people will tell you, like, even a new magazine might need a little time to just run through it or whatever. But this is I just can't make myself like this one. Timney Alpha trigger is definitely, it's my least favorite trigger just because, and I'll show you. This part's good. Boom. It's the, if you guys see that, it's the reset. So anyway, those are all my least favorite pieces I've added on that one. Try to work with them. I guess real quick, before I put it up, the Votatu I cannot recommend because I can't get over the fact in certain lighting, the red dot works fine, but the problem is in certain lighting, the other things light up. So this is the one that if you hold the up button, it'll cycle through, right? It's got the big circle, the dot, and all that. But the problem is whether it's a big circle, the dot, or whatever you have on, and it'll do it even when it's off, but you'll hold it, and it just sometimes gives you a, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's almost like everything starts to light up. I think it's like light shines in and just illuminates the guts in here, and it will show on the screen. It's just hard to explain, but there, for that reason and the fact that that isn't enclosed down in there, I can't recommend it to anybody. I don't even know if I'm going to keep it around. And it was 85 or 90 bucks, but they're normally like 100, 110. There are other options to just put a little more money and get. I do not recommend those red dots. So now we come to a toss-up. I know, a tie, right? I can't decide if I like this because this would need a couple things. This would need me to take it and send off, spend another 150 to, well, 110 at least, probably 150 to 200 to get the slide milled for a red dot. And then I think this would be, in my mind, I would like it as much as I do the shadow systems, which is just like this. Now this one, I've just got a cheap barrel. I don't know if I want to, I was kind of trying to decide if I like threaded or not. And I like this just in this form, a little Glock 19 size. No threaded barrel. Debating on, this is another one I would be debating on whether I would want to go ahead and maybe have it cut for a ported barrel and then just get a black ported barrel. But I kind of like this look with just a red trigger, and that's the Lone Wolf. There's nothing wrong with what's going on right here. This is a very good, solid blaster, as John Lovell calls them. It's a very good firearm. But I think if this, you guys see that? Look down in there. There's nothing in there. So I did transfer. This now has the trigger assembly. It's actually just the shoe is out of the Shadow Systems. I painted it. It will wear off. It will rub off. It's just paint, but it looks way better. That's some kind of burnt bronze, metallic burnt bronze, or I don't know, something, and then just the FDE on the shoe itself. But this, I just like the overall. I don't know if I like the full-size grip better, but I do like it also. But I like this one. I like that firearm. It's a good one. I don't know. I can't really decide which one I like better of these two. And I think right here is where the Echelon would come into place, because it's another one of those very good, everything about it. I would call this trigger about even with either of these, the stock Shadow Systems or even the Lone Wolf. The Lone Wolf really doesn't make that any better than the Shadow Systems. It is adjustable, but I still got to work on this one. I just stuck it in there. There's a few tricks I can do to get take up some what I call slack or slop. You call it take up or you return or whatever. So I just stuck it in there, and I kind of just stuck this one in there. I didn't really have time to play with it. Of course, this is just stock. And I would say right now that these three are on just trigger, overall looks, how they feel, kind of how they shoot. I have a couple different grip modules. This stock grip module, I would say, is not on par with this guy. So for ergonomics and how they feel, this takes the cake over the Shadow Systems, just because the daggers just feel better to me than what a normal Glock or even the Shadow Systems, which feel a little better, just not a ton better than the Glock. They do have better, they're better than a Glock, but they're not by a lot, as far, in my opinion, on the ergonomics. This is better, but not real great. The module I have that I had, spend another $60 on, but it's kind of a funky FD color. I tried painting it, and it's a large one. It's a little bit bigger. Comes out a little bit further. But yeah, this firearm is, it's probably, to most people would consider it better than these two, but I consider them about even. But those are just non-ported, non-comp, none of that stuff. The next one would be this guy. Once you add a compensator, a few trigger parts, tricks, or ports, you definitely step, in my opinion, for going to the range, just the fun and the ease of shooting. And I think I can actually shoot the shorter ones better. So I only have two of the daggers that are of the compact, but this Shadow Systems, once that mag well, and it kind of forces your hand to stay riding high. When you grab these firearms, you almost have to, I don't know, it's like it's just easier when your hand barely fits to already be up. It's just, you're already up there as high as you can go. So I'm going to talk about this trigger. So as you can see, so this is definitely by far the best trigger out of all of them, because of the internals and the shoe, how it works with and that's the Glock Performance trigger. But there's more money in this setup. So you're looking, I got it for $75. They're normally $95, I want to say, and then the Performance trigger is like $80. So there's a chunk of money right there. As the trigger I'm getting ready to talk about, I kind of like the feel. It doesn't go as light as this one. It has a little more take up and stuff, but I feel it performs, in my opinion, I like it just about the same. But as you can see with this guy, there's like nowhere to go. The safety is already stopping you, and yes, it's on the shelf up here. So you take that off, bam, pretty quick. Reset. Awesome. That, you're not going to get a lot better trigger than that. I could go lighter a couple different ways. I actually, I've talked about it in other videos. That's all the stock internals, firing pin and all that, or spring. and you could go probably a pound lighter on that, and like you can get this trigger crazy light. And I could even play with the, I don't think I've messed around. I don't think there's hardly any. Let me try that again. Yeah, so the reset, I could probably go in there and mess with that, but like that thing is it's so good right off the bat. And this is definitely a good working firing. I like that comp, and it just overall, of course, it's got the Shadow Systems barrel, which wasn't originally in the War Poet. I got it for the War Poet, and then I've robbed it out of the War Poet to put in this. It just goes better with the trigger and with this copper-colored mag release. So, and the ADE, I can't say I hate it. Can't say I really like it, but it's hard to beat. For I gave under $100 for it. It's not waterproof. If it would come, if they update these to where they come with this back part right here sealed, I maybe will get a few more of these. Possibility. But until then, I can't really say that but I like everything about it. So far, it's not failed me in any way. It's not bad. But my favorite one, for a few reasons, just in what it is, how it works, and how you can get into it cheaper, or I got into this one cheaper, is that little dude right there. So, to start out, it just, when you're up there shooting them, like the comps and the ports are very, very close. It's all a matter of if you want a cleaner gun, go with the compensated. More hassle if you want to take the barrel out when you do go to clean it. You're going to have to mess with that. To where this one, it's definitely it's going to be a dirty girl, but simpler to take apart, then clean it up. Keeps the firearm in the size that you're wanting it in. And overall, if you come across the right slide on eBay that's already, cut, or wherever you come across the slide, that's already the slide cut for a ported barrel, like this one, I've seen them go for even cheaper than I picked it up for, but like $159. That is only a $50 barrel. Add the internals. I don't even like these sights. Just put a red dot on it. I'm contemplating on some of my range toys just doing away with the sights and put some kind of little, just a filler thing in there. But you can get, in my opinion, you can wait for the sale, or even if you don't want to wait for them to go on sale. I picked up that lower with a good, very nice bag. The Dagger bags are pretty nice. It was $59 for the lower and the bag. That was a good deal. I've since picked it up, like I talked about, the slide, the barrel, the internals, just under $20 cheap plastic sights. Not counting the Holosun, you can put whatever red dot you want that's RMR footprint, or you can track down different slide with a different footprint or whatever. I've still yet to switch those out. I do have one coming if you guys are following me, but this trigger was also about the cheapest you can get, and I've got another one coming that is going to go probably in this guide. Where did I put him? Probably in this one. Just because it has the gold release, the gold barrel, and then it'll have a gold trigger. So, and its slide is almost, these will be my because this one I probably never get to function all the way. So I'm probably 100% stuck with it for life. So I might as well have it match this other one that I do plan on sticking around as my more or less favorite build. And that light, it does not really do anything other than just be on there for looks. Uh-oh. I think I had it setting and it was activated because I think the battery's dead. Uh-oh. Stay tuned for that. Where I put it in, it's a possibility it was setting and it activated the light. I'll slap another battery, and it's just a AAA. I'll slap another one in it and have to watch that. I have to pay attention when I put it in my bag. That is the only downside to like these with the easy to actuate. But it was like a $20 light that it is not bright, it is not heavy, it's not going to actually help you out at all in recoil. It is not going to help you to identify anybody that's probably further than 10 foot away at night, but it's a cool little light. And yeah, these lights, if you're watching, by the way, do I even have batteries in them? I think I brought batteries out of this one. Yeah, so all the ones that have batteries, it's only a few, they still work. Yeah, that one does too. But so far, this is the only one that I can say on as far as electronics, whether it be a red dot I've had or a light that just quit on me. And I don't think I got a AAA laying around. But I think that's what has happened. I've stuck it in the bag and it maybe was stuck on. It's the only thing I can figure. But we'll see. If it doesn't work, I'll stay posted. I'll let you know if that sucker gave out. Of course, I'll send my deal. It was only 20 bucks, but I'll send the thing if it did to and see if they help me out on their end. So this trigger is just an eBay one, but you can get them on through Tyrant Designs is who they actually makes it. I think it must just be knockoffs that I'm seeing on eBay. But this thing, it's hard to explain. Once you get out there on the range and you just start shooting, all I added was the trigger shoe to the Dagger internals. And then I did have to, I'll show you. I did have to take out some of the take up with the Johnny Glock's trick on just, it's pretty simple to do. I guess I can show you real quick. I'm just going to show you what I did. I'm not going to recommend you do it, but if you do it, you got to make sure. So you just pull that trigger all the way up. If you guys can make out that little, and I didn't do it. I didn't like run a pin through or a set screw. I just ran a piece of steel straight down. I drilled out. So I measured. I don't know if you can see that. See that it gets real skinny. Like it only is that shape, and then it gets down skinny to where it fits inside, right? So to where it was setting before I put that little bitty chunk of metal that you see there, it pushed this out far enough, like it'll stick out a little bit now. It just looked off. So, and then it doesn't set there. It doesn't set that far out because you can't see it, and I'll show you where it sets. So as you can see, even right there, it's still considered on the shelf, but it actually sets up here somewhere, almost like it kind of touches it, but with not a ton of pressure. So it's about halfway on the shelf and on the shelf on the other side, so still drop safe. But all I did was that little trick. Everything else, stock internals. I can't remember if I added the springs or not, just to drop the pull weight down or whatever. But it just, as you can see how it rides right there, it's just enough. I just did it to where you can't see that little, bad part. So, like some guys, I wouldn't go any further out, just a chance of being too close to the edge of that shelf. But I guess in theory, I could take up. No, it's right there. So yeah. So anyway, guys, I got to get out of here. That's my cue. I got to run. Thanks for watching. This is my favorite. You got any more questions? Leave them below.